The story of farming has always been a story of struggle. For thousands of years, growers fought pests with nothing more than instinct, observation, and ingenious natural methods long before synthetic chemicals existed. For many survivalists and traditional farmers today, the goal remains the same: produce strong, healthy crops without relying on anything artificial. Natural pest control is not a trend. It is a return to time-tested practices that work, protect the soil, and keep your food clean. Before diving into techniques, there's a powerful truth every grower should remember. Pests aren't the real enemy. Imbalance is. If you get the balance right, nature does most of the work for you. That's the foundation of everything that follows. And once you understand it, your farm or garden becomes more resilient than most chemical-dependent systems. Why natural pest control creates stronger, healthier crops. Chemical pesticides deliver fast results, but they weaken ecosystems, kill beneficial insects, and create resistant pest populations. Natural pest control works differently. Instead of forcing pests away, it builds a stable environment where beneficial insects, strong soil, and resilient plants make it difficult for pests to dominate. The healthiest farms in history relied on balance between predator and prey, microorganisms and soil, sunlight and shade. When you use natural methods, you are stacking the odds in favor of the plant, not the pest. You also avoid destroying pollinators, which is vital for fruit-bearing crops. This approach takes patience, but it rewards you with crops that can withstand stress soil that grows richer every season, and a garden ecosystem that doesn't collapse when one pest pressure rises. So, how do you attract beneficial insects that fight pests for you? Well, one of the most effective forms of pest control is turning your farm into a battlefield where the allies are working on your behalf. Ladybugs, lacewings, hoverflies, assassin bugs, spiders, parasitic wasps, and predatory beetles can eliminate aphids, caterpillars, mites, leafhoppers, and other destructive pests far more effectively than sprays. Ladybugs, lacewings, hoverflies, assassin bugs, spiders, parasitic wasps, and predatory beetles. These are your true allies in the ongoing battle against pests. You attract these allies by providing what they need: nectar, pollen, shelter, and variety. This is where planting flowering crops around your garden becomes practical. Dill, fennel, marigold, basil, coriander, chamomile, and even common weeds like clover draw in beneficial insects. A practical example is lining the borders of a vegetable plot with flowering herbs. Within 2 weeks, you will begin seeing lacewing eggs and ladybug larvae hunting aphids on your crops. Shelter also matters. Mulch, straw beds, and small undisturbed corners give predators a place to hide and overwinter. Once the ecosystem is established, pests rarely disappear entirely, but they never get out of control. Why healthy soil naturally reduces pest damage. Weak plants are pest magnets, and weak plants come from poor soil. When soil lacks organic matter, retains too much water, or has unbalanced nutrients, plants cannot mount natural defences. Strengthening the soil is therefore one of the most reliable ways to prevent pests. Now, Adding compost, you see, increases beneficial microbes that break down organic matter, feed plant roots, and, well, create a sort of natural immunity. Mixing in biochar, on the other hand, improves soil structure and helps plants access minerals more easily. And let's not forget worm castings. They support strong leaf growth and make plants more resistant to sap-sucking insects like aphids and whiteflies. A practical step-by-step example is honestly quite simple. You build a compost pile, add kitchen scraps, dried leaves, and a bit of animal manure. Then just let it break down for about 3 months. Once you apply it to your garden, the soil retains moisture evenly, which discourages soil-borne pests while also strengthening plant cell walls. Strong plants, you know, repel pests without you even having to lift a finger. How companion planting confuses and repels pests without using chemicals is rather fascinating. Companion planting is, actually, one of the oldest pest control strategies used by civilizations all over the world. Certain crops emit scents, chemicals, or root secretions that repel pests or protect neighbouring plants. Farmers have relied on these combinations for centuries simply because they work, and they work consistently. Planting basil with tomatoes reduces hornworm damage. Interplanting garlic or onions with cabbages deters cabbage worms and aphids. Growing marigolds near beans helps repel nematodes and beetles. This isn't superstition, it's chemistry. These plants release natural compounds that pests, well, simply dislike. A practical way to apply this is to divide your garden into small mixed sections rather than large monoculture beds. For example, instead of planting 10 rows of tomatoes, set up alternating beds of tomatoes, basil, onions and marigolds. The diversity confuses pests, limits spread, and strengthens the overall health of the garden. Why natural sprays made from plants work when used correctly. Not all sprays are harmful. Some natural solutions have been used for generations and can control pests effectively when applied early. Neem oil, garlic extract, hot pepper spray and soap water solutions disrupt pests without harming the soil or beneficial insects when used responsibly. So here's a practical example for you. Blending garlic cloves with hot peppers, then straining the liquid and mixing it with water. When you spray this mixture on leaves, it repels caterpillars and beetles, yet it breaks down harmlessly within just a few days. It's important to remember, though, that natural sprays should be used sparingly. The aim isn't to get rid of all pests, but rather to keep their numbers manageable, making sure that beneficial insects are left unharmed. So, let's talk about how creating physical barriers can protect crops from, heavy pest pressure. Physical barriers remain one of the simplest and honestly most reliable methods of natural pest control. Things like floating row covers, mosquito nets, or just fine mesh sheets. They protect crops from moths, beetles, and all sorts of insects, all without blocking sunlight or airflow. Chicken wire barricades do a great job protecting root crops from animals like rabbits, while collars around young seedlings can really stop cutworms in their tracks. A good survival-minded example, I think, is using old window screens to create a sort of mini cage over cabbage beds during peak butterfly season. The screens block egg-laying, and that, in turn, prevents cabbage worm infestations entirely. Natural pest control, well, it really requires patience, observation, and a willingness to let nature work with you rather than against you. When you combine beneficial insects, strong soil, companion planting, natural sprays and physical barriers, you build a resilient farming system that, quite frankly, protects itself. Your crops end up growing cleaner, stronger and more reliable year after year, without a single chemical needed. If you found this guide valuable, make sure you subscribe to Husbandry and share this video with others who want to farm smarter, cleaner and more sustainably. Your support helps keep traditional knowledge alive and really makes this channel a home for serious growers and survival-focused farmers everywhere.